is use the Instantly Ageless. And here is, if you want to get a sample, you can have a free sample. And like I said, there's a link in my the previous post before this. There's a link to go and get your free sample. But this, what you want to do when you get it in the mail or when you order a box of it, you get a box of 50 if you order a box of the Instantly Ageless. And you're going to massage the little sachet in the packet. And then take I use a straight pin. I just have had this from when there was a wedding that we went to. And so I just kept this. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just puncture a little hole in the top part of the sachet so that there's just a little hole there. And then I'm going to squeeze a little dab, about that much. And I'm going to put this under and around Stan's eyes. Now, the way that I do this, and people do different things. What I do is I take my little finger and I sort of smush it together and down in like this and sort of mix it around. And then I just pat and I tap, tap, tap under the eye. And what I'm going to actually say right now is Stan's been using the Luminous serum for about 6 weeks, and I've noticed a real big difference in his eyes, around his eyes and his forehead. They're not nearly as many wrinkles, and his face is not nearly as oily looking. It actually looks healthy and hydrated instead of oily. And that's one thing that you'll notice when you start using the products. If you've got oily skin, you'll start using the products and you'll notice that your skin doesn't necessarily look oily anymore. It looks hydrated. And that is one thing that I do like about this product. So I put it even a little bit around this eye right here. Remember, no expressions when you put it on, and you want to leave it a little bit damp and let it dry, because what happens is that drying is part of the process and it will do what it needs to do. Now I'm going to look over here on this side. I don't really need to do anything there. I'm going to put some right here in between his eyes and let that dry. Remember to be expressionless so that it can dry the way that it needs to. And you want to start out and just put a tiny little bit, because remember, if you put too much, it's going to possibly look white and powdery. And that is one thing that you don't need. You don't need a lot of, and you can always put a little bit more on if you feel like you need a little bit more. And I'm going to also just dab a little bit around here. And just tap, tap, tap. And remember, don't move. Remember to leave it slightly damp so that it can dry on its own, and don't try to pat until it dries, because then you won't be able to do the process correctly. So this is what we're doing and applying that there. Now I don't have a fan. I should have brought a fan, but I don't have one. So I'm going to just fan to try to speed up the process here. And I mean, used to, I could see the creases in Stan's forehead. And since he's been using the Luminous serum, I don't see that the creases, I don't even see them anymore. And that is one thing that the Luminous serum has done. It has taken that away. So you can see right now, there's not wrinkles. You can see the lines going away here on his face. I probably could add a little bit more right here on this side, and I think it will. And just get that going and dry. Now with the Luminous, with the Instantly Ageless, this will last for 8 to 10 hours. I'd just say 6 to 10 hours, depending on how much you put on and what you've done throughout the day and what the weather is like outside and humidity and all that. But what you want to do is you want to apply it first thing in the morning. It lasts pretty much all day. Now, what happened with me one day, I was so tired. I had gone out and done been just real busy all day long, and there was an event I wanted to go to, but I just did not have time to go home and change and wash my face and do all that I needed to do because I was in a rush and I was running behind. So instead of washing my face, I just brought out a sachet of Instantly Ageless, put it around my eyes, just added some to it, didn't wash my face, and that made me feel rejuvenated again, and I went on to the meeting, and that's, I felt good, and it looked good. So it really does do a lot when you're in a rush and you can't. So I always keep one of these in my purse now. So what we're going to do now, what I've done is I've folded this over like this and just attached a paper clip to it so that it will stay moist in there. And one of these should last you 2 to 3 times, depending on how much you use it. Now, he's been wanting me to work on his neck. We're putting the Luminous Serum on his neck. And we haven't really done a whole lot with the Instantly Ageless on there as of today. But we might eventually work on that because I know that it will. I use it sometimes on my neck, and it does improve and help that looseness under your neck. So now that we've done this, what I'm going to do, and what you will do at home, when you've taken yours and you've taken it and you've taken the first picture of the before, then you've gone in and you have applied your Instantly Ageless after you've allowed it to dry for the 2 minutes or however long it takes until it does dry, and you see that difference happening and you feel it. You can feel sometimes a little tingle. Well, then you want to take another picture, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take a picture here. Oh, this is the way I did it, so let's. Okay, so can you scoot back just a little bit so I can get right here? So what I'm going to do now is get into my application, or my application that I have called Diptyque. I use Diptyque, and I've got a place in here where I can do a side-by-side. So I'm going to do a side-by-side of both of those pictures, and I'm going to put the before on the left side, and then I'm going to put the after on the right side. And then I'm going to save it. And, whoops, I am going to save the image to my iPad here. And then I'm going to come back to my photos and I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to let you see the difference. This one right here is the before, and this one right here is the after. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that right there. So you can, if you look closely and see, you'll notice a difference around his eyes. You'll notice a difference around his mouth, between the eyebrows. So it's very important that you do take the before and after picture. Can I sit here now? Because what you're going to do is you're going to find out that you're going to notice a difference when you take the before and after picture.
Closer look. Oh yeah. Well, if you're over 40, you ought to remember these words. Darling, you look marvelous. Great product.